Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to this video about the full moon in Scorpio happening May 12th at 22 degrees of Scorpio. So in this video, we are going to explore not just the astrology of this lunation, but I want to talk a lot about the soul work and what it's also calling forward. So as an evolutionary astrologer, I want to issue this to you as, an invitation to be with this video and to sit and to listen and to make some space for the release that I think this lunation is offering us to. We're something that you've been living with or that's been living inside of you, especially emotionally or psychologically, even spiritually for sure. It is ready to die. This is a Scorpio moon. It's ready to die off. So this full moon is going to mark this point of this reckoning with that, as the full moon asks us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. And this dying off process at this particular lunation, I want to be clear, is not about doing it in a punishing or a really dramatic kind of way, but in a way that is honest. It's soul deep, honest, like something inside of you is done. Something you've been working through, you've been holding on to it, you've been hiding from, possibly for years, possibly for lifetimes. It is finally surfacing and asking for this full goodbye. So we're going to also look at why this is a little bit painful and how we can use the astrology to help support the release, how this death is not an end, but it's actually the key to your next chapter. And I'm also going to, in this video, just in case you're new, I'm going to walk through this chart, which you can see down below here. I'm going to walk through all the major aspects and some other ones I picked out as well, because we can't ignore that we are having this lunation as the Mars and Pluto story is separating. We've got a yod that's happening here. The sun's conjunct Uranus. There's a lot going on. So we're going to move through and see where we can be supported in the astrology and also what it's unfolding with us. So let's jump in here and let's start, first of all, with what I think is the most volcanic aspect that we really got at this particular lunation. And let me say this to you. As you are listening to this lunation, what you want to do is grab your own personal chart. Please make sure you have your personal chart. The best astrology is your astrology. And if you're just listening to this in a general way, the vibe is going to be the same, but you really could do better for yourself and have the specifics. And what you would want to do is find where 22 degrees of Scorpio is at in a particular house of your chart. So just make sure you have your chart. You can click in my description box down below and scoop that up. Okay, let's talk about our first aspect that we are working with, and that is, honestly, yes, this is the full moon, but we are coming in under this Mars-Pluto opposition, and this story it's been ongoing, right? It's this confrontation between the personal ego, that Mars and Leo, and the soul's higher demand and society's higher demand for evolution, which is the Pluto in Aquarius. So it already gives us this flavor that this full moon, again, it's showing us this is not just, a purging. It is a confrontation because both of these planets are the ruling planets of this particular lunation. And because this aspect already has some history, right? This is the third and final exact of this oppositional story, or this dance in this particular story. Let me not say exact, but this is the dance in that story. It's testing. I think that this opposition now is testing. It's testing your will, your identity, your attachments, your power struggles. It can also be, this aspect can deeply, deeply trigger feeling powerless or feeling emotionally overwhelmed. So think about this last 6 months. Where have you had that experience? Because it's not fake. It's a soul forging, like we're forging in this energy, new clarity, because that's really the desire, Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo wants clarity. It wants expression. It wants to live out its best pride. But Pluto in Aquarius is stripping back everything, asking, okay, well, is this performative or is this your truth? Are you pushing just from your ego, or are you moving in some kind of alignment with what is your highest frequency, right? But that breaking down that you've maybe been feeling or experiencing, whether it's around your money, your purpose, your relationships, your own sense of self-worth, I think it's a breakthrough in disguise. This is where the ego burns so that the soul can rise. This opposition, I think, is an invitation to stop forcing and start surrendering. You know, I've been going on and on about this Venus Reset program, and it is because of this. We've got to go to the surrender point. So I want to also say here, this is not to give up, right? But it is to allow and participate in the surrender of what's truly expired and let it fall away. Maybe that's an old identity that no longer fits. Maybe it was a dream that was not really your dream, but it was rooted in having it out of some kind of fear, a way of proving your worth, and it's exhausted. Your nervous system's exhausted from dancing in that dance. Well, the Scorpio moon here under this aspect says, let it die, let it burn. And in that phoenixing way that Scorpio lives and moves and has its being, from the ashes, a new you is coming. But it doesn't come from striving. It comes from trusting. It comes from a surrender. So let's jump and take a look at more of these aspects and more of these ideas around Scorpio. I want to talk just quickly about Scorpio, so we make sure that we really do cover that. I love the book The Alchemist, right? It's one of my favorite books in the world. And Scorpio is who and what we consider the alchemist of our zodiac energies, because it really understands the dynamic and the need to take things from one state and convert it to another. It understands the need for the death and the burning away of something in order to have the rise and the rebirth of something else. So it's an incredibly potent metaphor to understand this particular energy. And just like the alchemist who turns that lead into gold by that process of breaking down something to purify it and elevate it, Scorpio turns pain or wounding into power, into wisdom, loss into rebirth. So we're really dealing with a lot of dynamic energy when we're dealing with the alchemist. And we are all seeing here under this lunation, this opportunity to become what we need to be next, but it has to come on the back of a death, okay? All right, so one of our first aspects that we have going outside of our Mars-Pluto story that really has been governing the sky is we need to look at actually what's going on with the full moon. So first of all, we have the moon and the sun in opposition to each other. But this one has a little bit of extra sauce, okay? We've got the sun really close in orb to this Uranian energy opposing this Scorpio moon. So while that Scorpio moon is pulling us deeper into that emotional underworld, the sun in Taurus is in this conjunction, this loose conjunction for me with Uranus, and it's adding like charge, kind of this seismic charge to this full moon, because Uranus is shaking this ground underneath us. It's shaking our earthly structures, foundational structures, and they're all tied to the sun, which are going to be our identity, our values, all of that. Everything that we've built some kind of solid foundation of, it is ripe for disruption because Uranus is going to shake it and break it open. So the moon opposing that force, and thus your inner world, it can feel like things are in direct tension, right? My inner world is in direct tension with what I perceive to be this outer security. So when we're looking at how you experience this aspect, some of the things that we can make note of is that this can show up very Uranian as a restlessness, sudden or unexpected changes in an area of your life that you really thought were super stable, my home, my money, my body, my relationships. You can also have these sudden emotional clarity comes to you, right? But deeper than that, it can feel like being torn between what's familiar and what your heart, what your nervous system knows you can't keep. You might have spent the last year sensing this shift, but now your body, Earth, Taurus, getting into the body, right, is feeling it. Scorpio, more deeply into those feelings. You may feel like your roots are being pulled up from the soil, and they are, okay, because the old container, Taurus, can no longer hold what you're evolving into. So this is a bit of, just this aspect that gets the full moon off the ground anyway is a cosmic wake-up call, but it's from the soul level. So this question of, are you still building your life around values that don't nourish you anymore? Are you ready to claim new desires, even if they ask you to leave behind what once felt like home, what once felt familiar? The moon in Scorpio is not asking or suggesting. This is a sign that is ruled by both Pluto and Mars. They don't ask. They don't have a suggestion box, right? They demand emotional honesty. So this Sun Uranus energy is delivering the shock that your honesty is going to cause you something. It's going to create change. Something's going to die off so that something else can live. But it's not. Taurus is a Venusian energy. I don't think that this is chaos, or it doesn't have to be chaos. It's creative rupture. It's breaking you open so that a new life can grow in the space that's now going to be cleared, especially in your material reality. Okay, let's take a look at this yod, because I think that in addition to this beautiful opposition that we've got going here, this yod is really, really gorgeous. So we see that we've got Jupiter in Gemini, Chiron in Aries, and then we're squeezing that all through the lens, the apex point of this moon down here in Scorpio, okay? So first of all, we call this the finger of God. That's big. That's a big title. And it's pointing right at Scorpio, your heart, your healing. So this, again, is an indicator to me that this isn't the kind of aspect configuration that you can just bypass, and you're also not going to be able to rationalize it. This is karmic pressure that is asking you to evolve emotionally, not intellectually. So Jupiter in Gemini here wants to understand everything, wants to explain, wants to label it, wants to analyze. And Chiron is over here in Aries, nursing wounds around the identity, being seen, being enough, or, simply being, maybe even can be the story here. But the Scorpio moon here in these quincunx aspects has no interest in the words. It's asking you to feel what you're trying to talk yourself out of or into. So you may feel caught in a moment where you know what's true, but you also are like, I don't know what to do with that yet. And that's okay. That's the point. That's the crucible. The discomfort is the portal to the change. So this yod, I think, is reminding us again that you can't think your way out of pain. You have to feel it. You have to grieve it. You have to, Jupiter, Gemini, you have to let it teach you. So you may be facing some old stories of shame, of rejection, of self-abandonment. We've talked a lot about that this year. Maybe you've outgrown a role. Maybe you've outgrown being a caretaker, being a high achiever, being a peacemaker, and now you have to release it, even if it is woven into the identity that you've been building a life off of. I want to encourage you. Let yourself sob. Let yourself surrender. Let it happen. The healing is not going to be in being strong and keeping it together. It's going to be in surrendering and being willing. Now, we also saw that we've got this Pluto, right? We have this Pluto-Mars conversation that's happening, but there's an apex point coming here with this Mercury in Taurus, and I actually like it, okay? Even though this is like, it's kind of you might feel this pressure to figure out what's being presented to you. But I think with Mercury in Taurus, there's a better way to do this. So now we have Mercury as that apex point. So it is this pressure here of where you're being asked to shift going into your mind. It's mental pressure. And it's the kind of energy that would keep you up at night going, well, how do I make this work? Very practical, right? Mercury and Taurus, how do I make you work? How do I make this work? What's the right decision? Because Mercury and Taurus is going to be thinking about this and want stability and want answers and want concrete plans. But this lunation does not, again, it's not offering clarity through logic. Instead, you have to embody it, embody the wisdom. So if you're experiencing this kind of internal like gridlock, you're trying to decide, well, do I go with safety or to go with what my soul's kind of calling me? Do I go with what makes sense? Those are quotes. These are quotes. Or what my body and my nervous system are telling me are real. Something I think about in this particular side, as Mercury and Pluto are a bit tighter, this is a bit loose for me, however, but Mercury and Pluto are very tight here, is that it can be an experience that does trigger something obsessive in you. Like you're obsessively thinking about it. It's a fear, it's an old script, and of course it's going to be Taurian things, money, time, worth. But this T-square, I think, in general, is asking you not to solve the problem. There's nothing to solve at the moment. It's to pause. It's to ground your mind, ground your body, listen to the inner knowing. Don't listen to the critic that's trying to solve and figure something out. So this is where embodiment really becomes the antidote at this particular lunation. So be Tauran, right? Go slow. Feel your body. Trust what softens you. Mercury in Taurus is not moving fast. It moves at the pace of trust, not urgency. The mind may be racing, but your body and your soul, they already know. Let your nervous system become a compass. If it calms when you're imagining the next step of your journey, then you're aligned. Move forward. If you're starting to think about the next steps you can take in something you're doing and you tighten up, that's not it, because the truth is going to feel like safety. So you have time to explore this. Now we have some softer aspects, I think, to help us along, because we do have the lovers, Mars and Venus, in a lovely conversation here. They're in a trine. And then we also see that Pluto and Neptune here are in a sextile as well. So we've got all of this intensity, but like I said, I think that these guys come together and offer a bit of divine support, because first of all, this Mars-Venus is going to connect the feminine and the masculine, but they do it in a trine. So I would call it harmonious fire, right, between Aries and Leo. But what this gives us is access to aligned action. Like it's that balance. There's courage. There's a brave softness that is available to us. And again, it is not about forcing. It's not forcing. It's not fixing. It's moving with love. If you've been feeling like you're afraid to act at this lunation, while it is intense, this trine is like a gentle green light for you, because you're not meant to respond to your life in a panic. You're meant to move in a devotion to your being. And next to that, having the soft aspect of Pluto and Aquarius in this sextile to Neptune and Aries, this helps dissolve what's no longer serving, and helps you get a bit more attuned to what the higher purpose or the higher dream is. And now at this time, Pluto is in retrograde. So you're going back over, what have you been working on really since 2024? Go back to November of 2024, coming all the way through until now, because Pluto is saying, let it die. Let it die. And Neptune is just whispering, let it dissolve. Let it dissolve. It's okay. So together, I think that they offer not necessarily a map, but they offer like a melody, and it's sung at a spiritual frequency, and it invites you to trust what you can't yet see, but you can already feel it. Let your dreams, let your intuition, let your pelvic bowl speak. Let the silence become sacred. This is the alchemy of this lunation. This is the alchemy of surrender. When you finally stop gripping onto this old life, right? The new one begins to form almost imperceptibly, I think, at times. But it's like just this gentle whisper under your skin. And that, to me, you guys, that's grace. That's rebirth. And that is a scorpionic gift, okay? Now, of course, these lunations, they don't happen in a vacuum. This is not happening in a vacuum at all. And we can also see that we've got other aspects that are happening here. We've got Saturn and the North Node together pulling us forward. That's really beautiful. We've also got Uranus and Saturn in a bit of a conversation here. And I like that because it really is just breaking down. It's giving you access to break down old structures. Right? It doesn't have to be this way. Instead, I have to move in faith. I have to move in faith. I have to move in surrender. I have to move in soft. But I want to bring us to, like I do in every lunation video, to our lunar family, where you can also go back and really trace where you're working on this story. So first of all, we have, if we go back to November 13th of 2023 at 20 degrees of Scorpio, we had a new moon solar eclipse at 20 degrees, and that was the seed. You were planting your seeds of intention to begin something new at that time. Something was getting wiped out and something new was getting reset. After that, we move forward into August of 2024, again at this 20 degrees of Scorpio. And this is where whatever you were trying to bring into existence at this time, now you have this pressure to act. I'm in motion, I'm building. People, places, and things are falling out of your life because they don't match the vibration of what we were calling in at this new moon. And now we're here at bus stop number 3 at the full moon at 22 degrees of this scorpionic energy. And this is an emotional revelation, the truth that can no longer be hidden. So we've got to end something, acknowledge something, and adjust. We have to pivot and commit to a new direction. And then when we get down here to February 9th of 2026, the last quarter moon, again at 20 degrees of Scorpio, is going to be where we bring it to a close. It's a closing chapter. Everything we started to build in this cycle, in your homework assignment, this will be, you've built it, you're turning away from it. What are you going to do with it? What did you build? What did you learn about? Are you receiving the benefits of all of the emotional truth and the spiritual deepening that needed to come to you when you were arriving here? Because by the time we're at the full moon, we're at the peak of what you asked for. But you've got to pivot on your road and take forward the new commitment to living, moving, and having your experience differently. Release what's expired. Walk forward unburdened. What I can say at this lunation is I've seen a lot online, and I just want to tell you, I think that you are prepared for it. I think that you are not late, you're not behind, you're exactly on time for this perfect evolution in your life. But this Scorpio full moon is asking for something sacred. It is asking for your participation and your permission to let go. Not just of what no longer serves you, but the illusions that say you have to suffer a lot consistently to grow, or that you have to earn your worth. You're not valuable by just being, or say that you have to stay loyal to something that is slowly draining you. This is emotional sovereignty. This is the sacred death of something within you. And that death is not a failure, it's a rite of passion. So you may be grieving a version of yourself as we come to this lunation, the one who held everything together, the one who kept the peace, the one who carried the weight. That grief at this lunation and over the next weeks, it's holy. It's the moment you let it be, you open the door, and something new can start to come in, because a life shaped by soul, not survival, is a very different experience. So this full moon for me, when I look at it and I was breaking it down, I think that this full moon is not the end. It's like a threshold, that place where who you were meets who you are becoming. So let yourself die off. Let the mask burn. Let the ache rise. Get support. Get help if something is particularly challenging for you. Because remember, from those ashes, something miraculous, something beyond your wildest dreams is being born. And what I think it is you. All right, my beautiful friends, I hope that this gives you an idea of where this is happening in your particular chart and what the energies are trying to bring. Please remember to grab your own individual chart so you can see what house this is in for you. And also make sure you check out these 2 other videos that are coming at the end. And of course, if there's anything I can do to help you or you're ready for some one-on-one consultation because you're having a hard time making the shift, you can click in the description box down below and I will see you in a one-on-one session live with just you and me. All right, beautiful friends. Bye.